Good morning, everyone. In my collision is Mr. Sandeep, is Shankar, and Sampath, and Chandu, and Ahmed. Now we are going to discuss on the topic: is flexible working hours will be good for building better productivity and economy. According to me, the introduction of this topic, it is a management concept and it is much equipped with most of the relations. And now we will be discussing about its advantages, disadvantages, and consequences involved, and what are the other roles to be performed. As it is a management subject, we will be discussing some of the management concepts related to also. And comparing to it, the flexible working hours in essence means flexible or scalable working hours involved in the process. Suppose in any industry or an organization, let us be taking it in the public industry or a private sector, it will be involved in flexible working hours or scalable working hours also. They will be involved in some of these sanction leaves also. During the process, we will be discussing about these similarities with other comparisons. Now let us discuss the topic.
Here it is suitable for public sector undertakings and UPS jobs. Here they can work up to limited hours and work flexibly.
No, public sector is not only the main issue. No, only some public sectors are available nowadays in our country. But if you take to private sector, no flexible hours have been adopted till now. So we cannot directly know that the productivity will be increased if you take a flexible hour. There are many factors which influence the productivity also.
No, flexible working hours increases productivity because considering any department, flexible working hours means working for some time and leave and after working.
So if you take, for us, if you think 8 hours is the complete job, and if you think according to 4 hours will be the flexible. If you think 4 hours will be the flexible working hours, then the next 4 hours, according to you, the employee will go out of his company or any other place where he is working. If it is the situation, then the next 4 hours, if problem occurred, then there will be no person to solve the problem. Then the productivity will go to the automatically down, and it may be postponed for the next day, where we can complete the work in within few hours.
No, this can be implemented in an existing institution, so that if the worker is not there in that place, many workers are available.
No, if you take a case of an engineer will be only to confined area or a region, there will be 1 or 2 engineers, and there will be a shift rotation also. According to shift rotation, if one engineer is available, there will not be another engineer in the same working area.
So, of course, adding to the point about it, the problem for any industry or organization occurs. There will be one industrial engineer who is looking after a particular department in that organization, and there will be a shifting of the workers to express all over this. There will be different shifts for the workers also. The problem occurs generally, the decision will be went out to this industrial engineer. The industrial engineer must localize the problem, and he will be substituting the suitable solution. And without rectifying the solution, the industrial engineer should not cross the boundaries of the organization without rectifying the problem, and he should convince that the work process is under progress or not. That's the case. When noting the flexible working hours not only related to the productivity or economy also. While coming to the in cases of this private sector jobs like our TCS, Infosys and IT sector jobs, there will be continuous process also. Suppose now in our India, we will be doing work or 8 or 9 hours in a day. Then the work will be progress continuous, saved in the stored in a server, and the work will be continuous equally the person in United States also. He will continue the work process. In that case, useful distribution of the work is also possible, and circulation of the work all over the globe and international exposure is also determined. In that case, we can increase our economy and profits also. Thus, we leading to the productivity rate much aware of it, and the efficiency will be increased.
If you take, actually, if you take a country like Japan, Japan is the vast more developed. There are no flexible hours in Japan. Japan people will continuously work for hours and hours. And in that case, they have molded their lifestyles in their own way to work. If you take the Japan service, for every engineer or everyone, they provided their own beds at there. If they want to sleep, they can go and sleep. If they want to work, they will come and work. And flexible works are not distributed in those countries where the productivity is very high. If one person will leave a job, the productivity can come very down. That much that they may affect the complete economy. But it is not possible in case of Indians. Indians in in India or other countries?
I will be explaining this in Indian working manner and Japan working manner.
No, but you told worldwide data can be stored by here and USA people can work. That's really.
That is related to the IT sector job. Suppose while coming comparison between a Japan worker and an Indian worker, suppose if we require our increment of our salary and whatever be the benefits, we will go for the organization and ask for our session to increase our salary or pay scale. Generally, they will be looking up at all the activities and maybe a little will be increased. But what will you do? We will be involved in these strikes and rotations and neglecting the work for a while.
No, if you take country like Japan, if they want to do strike, they don't stop the work.
Yes, yes.
They go for over productivity and the company will then come to their employees and discuss why the productivity has increased. They don't ask why the productivity
They will
has
be
increased.
tending to increase the productivity such that the demand process will be increased and the productivity
No,
will
demand will
increase.
be the same, but the output will be more. So then the people there can't store those in their areas, and then they will respond.
They will
And if you take countries like India, they don't do the same thing. They
Here
are.
there is ONGC which in ONGC there will be 15 days work and 15 days rest. It provides employees for working for 15 days and they can do for other work for any work for other work 15 days. They can do both employment and any other activity.
More working hours can make the employee feel stress, whereas the flexible hours can increase the stress.
Work will be distributed equally to the employees, whereas in the private sectors, the work will be given by as compared to the talent. If he is new to the job, he will be given small work, and whereas the senior work he will produce more work and compared to the government sector.
Any employee has an ultimate limit. If he crosses the limit, he cannot much more effectively. So flexible hours must be implemented. I will do more and more work per my day.
Overtimes are not the way the company decides. The employer who decides to take overtime or not. They can live without doing the overtime. But everyone needs money and they want it in very fast manner. So they are taking. It is not that company is forcing anyone to do an extra time on. We are adopting that type of culture, so we will use that.
It depends upon the undertaking industry. Suppose let us take in the case of IT sector. If we do an overtime, we will not be paid much amount. But compared in the public sector
No, if you
undertakings,
take IT sector, there is a target base. It is within days you have to complete certain project work. But if you take in companies in productions or industries, you don't have any targets. You just have targets for a year. A year it will be within days and day within year. That means you have more long gap to overcome any problems or and the risk factor in IT sector than companies is very less because where you deal with only people. But here the machineries and other works. A machine may fail and it may take some months to repair also sometimes. And there in those process, if you can't leave the machine to go on by taking flexible hours, if it takes 10 hours to work, you can't work for 4 hours and go. Because that work will go on next day and the machine will become unstable. And it will change
If you think if you are making a steel plant, then you will think if you want more money, then you will do overtime. Like in this case, they will give work to you and you will be accommodated with it.
More work is given to a single person, then the mistakes can be occurred.
yes, I will be discussing this matter in detail today by comparing it with the public sector undertaking and the private sector undertaking. In which the private sector undertakings are much concentrate upon their productivity and economy. While the general working process in case of this government sector undertakings is they work in a sine wave curve manner. There will be work uniformly. Uniform distribution of the work is possible. As told by my friend Shankar, as a talented person will be given more work in private sectors. It cannot be possible in the public sector because there is the work process is uniform. They will work in a process of sine wave curve. And generally comparing to the case of these private sectors, they work only for productivity. They work only for economy to increase their profits so that their business expansion will be increased and their employees' capabilities also increase. In that cases, it cannot be flexible working hours cannot yield positive results all the time. In case of residual periods and speculation effects, as we studied in our industrial engineering concept, then we will be flexible working hours cannot serve the purpose also. In that cases, the employee has to work hard up to his peak level and increase more productivity and more profit such that the economy of this organization will be increased.
Under the present scenario, BTech students are studying for the exam just before the day or before 2 days or 3 days. But their productivity is not increasing. They are just passing out the exam, but they are not topping or something. Toppers. I think from the few months or the few days or few years back, they must be struggled to do it for the proper result.
Yes, not only in the engineering sector. If you take any medical sector, you can't leave the doctor to go for 4 hours without doing the operation. He can take 24 hours, 12 hours to complete his operation. If you take a flexible hour and the doctor says I will have to leave within the 4 hours, then the patient will be left there for the next few hours.
So comparison of the performance appraisal for candidate, not only related to comparing to the engineering field and the medical field, I will be analyzing it. First, engineering field, we cannot decide if a percentage of the candidate is more so that he is efficient. In the engineering life, we should develop equally in all the aspects. Coming to the practical approach, analytical thinking and critical thinking and decision making and even the percentage also. If anyone will be failing this, all the aspects will be not being considered in the selection process. While comparing to the medical field, it is compared to much difficult task. It involves the life of the individual. So we must be careful enough. We must be careful in all aspects and each and every step. In that cases, the involvement of the in much thinking way. In that cases, we can allow the flexible working hours and involve the shifts of the doctors or nurses, whatever might be the case or consequences. But in that case, the uniform work process can be achieved because it is related to the life of the people. We cannot take chance in that cases.
I think that flexible production is limited to some extent and may not be possible in all the cases.
Yes, flexible working is limited to certain extent. It cannot be applied to all cases because when considering in medical cases, some of the doctors must do some operations. But considering a medical representative, he can go to some other place and flexible work can be implemented. Even for the nurses, if they are serving, they can be implemented flexible working. Flexible working increases the acceleration of the hospital. So the productivity can be much more.
And above all, one's life is more important than flexible production or inflexible production.
So of course, in that cases, we will be involving such departments involving the work. There will be the equal distribution of work is possible so that equally the productivity increase, the flexibility to the human beings or workers will be increased. In such a cases, all the work process will be uniform so that if a candidate is doing his professional work, not only enough, when he grows up and comes as a complete individual, he uses to take the work of the family life also. He uses to work, play the role of a husband, play the role of a daughter, etc. Whatever might be the cases or consequences. So all the roles and responsibilities of the individual should be fulfilled equally. If one individual fails any of the responsibilities, then we cannot achieve the completely and the completion of the process. In that cases,
Flexible work can be some types of categories. If you take a scientist, he can't do a flexible work because scientists have to go on researches and they have to develop new things. So even a 1 minute matters for him a lot. So he can't think of doing a flexible hour and leaving it. But if you take some online jobs or some business matters, then you can work flexibly and you can equally enjoy the life. But productivity, coming to the productivity, if you need more productivity, you have to work more hard. That's definitely. You can't just work for 4 hours and aim for more productivity and more gains. That cannot be possible according to me.
yes, we conclude our topic by saying that flexible working hours matters depends upon the organization or institution. It is useful in some cases like medical fields and some other institutions, government undertakings. While we are working hard for this economy and productivity, we have to put a much effort involved in it. In that cases, the flexible working hours cannot yield all results. While seeing the recession period, if you work hard, you will be staying in the department. If you cannot work hard, you cannot stay in the rest. In such a cases, it will be necessary to implement continuous working process. But in nevertheless, which involves risk of the individual, we cannot make a attempt there. So we conclude that the big ideas deserve great execution. The execution process demands the more, and the management of the organization involves much difficult tasks.